This question, Geoffrey Chaucer's language and versification. This question is very important for the examination and it is always asked in the short question. Write down Chaucer's language and versification. So within few words you can answer very well to this question. Chaucer's what kind of language was used by Geoffrey Chaucer, or what kind of verse he used in his poem, especially in his Canterbury Tales, prologue to his Canterbury Tales. Geoffrey Chaucer, he found his country, England, without literature and without language. Don't forget that Geoffrey Chaucer, he has been called as the father of English poetry. In the 14th century, English literature is supposed to be started from 14th century, and that's why that Geoffrey Chaucer, he has been regarded as the father of English poetry. So Geoffrey Chaucer, he found his country England without literature and without language. But when Geoffrey Chaucer, he left his country, after his death, what happened, that we found that he left his country with both with literature and with language. During his time, there was no national language and there were only dialects, and the important or the significant or very popular dialects were only four. Okay, in his day there was no national language, but there were only four dialects. Dialects, you know very well, our local language, our local words when we use in our language, daily language. We also call dialects regional languages or regional tongue. That is our mother tongue or the words we always use in our daily life. So these four dialects, very popular dialects at that time, or the regional languages were Southern. Okay, they were four in numbers. They were four dialects. Southern, the very first Southern dialect, Midland dialect, Kentish, and the fourth one was Northumbrian. These four dialects were very popular at the time of Chaucer. But Geoffrey Chaucer, he chose, okay, this is very important, that what dialect or in which dialect Geoffrey Chaucer wrote. It was East Midland dialect, right? Never forget these words. It was East Midland dialect which was chosen by Geoffrey Chaucer for his poetry. And it was the particular dialect, it also became the language of England in future. After his death, now East Midland dialect became the language, we can say national language, the language of England. And Geoffrey Chaucer, he rejected what? He rejected alliteration and employed three principal meters. Okay, Geoffrey Chaucer did not use alliteration in his poetry. That was very famous at that time. Alliteration, the same letter is repeated. Okay, what kind of alliteration we can say, that in this kind of figure of speech or alliteration, we or the poet, he always uses the same letter. Okay, he repeats one letter again and again. But Geoffrey Chaucer, he rejected alliteration and he employed three principal meter. Ottava rima, heroic couplet and rima royal. Ottava rima, 8 syllabic lines. There are 8 syllabic lines and they rhyme in couplet. Okay, they rhyme in couplet. That is 2 lines. Heroic couplet, there are 10 syllabic lines and they also, because heroic couplet 2 lines and they also rhyme in couplet. So heroic couplet 10 syllabic lines rhyming in couplet. Rima royal again 10 syllabic lines, but they are arranged in stanzas of 7 line each, right? Stanzas of 7 line each. So these were three principal meters that was used, that was employed by Geoffrey Chaucer: ottava rima, heroic couplet, and rima royal. Chaucer, he preferred to write in East Midland dialect, and his writings are always called, as the critics they always said, that the writings of Geoffrey Chaucer are the well of English undefiled. Well of English undefiled. Why it is said? Because Geoffrey Chaucer spoke and he wrote the best English of his day. Okay, this is why that the language and versification of Geoffrey Chaucer is very popular, very well known, and he is known especially for his language, for his East Midland dialect, and it is supposed to be the best English of that day, the English of the court and the English or the language of the higher clergy or the national language. So it was the Chaucer's, it was the language and versification of Geoffrey Chaucer. You can write in the exam in short, because this question is always asked only in short question, and it will be sufficient.